Hi, this is April for April Mitchell for INFM 655 review and reflection of the project charter and the open project where we had to set up our project schedule and as it created the WBS structure. This portion of the project or this assignment found very challenging. One, you had to kind of understand what was expected of you, and then two, working with the different applications that I had never been on before, like Open Project. That was a bit of a challenge. But what I did first, which now in hindsight, I wish I had did the charter first, but it actually helped me create the charter by going into open project and just doing the schedule first. My team and we decided that we were going to do the medical billing piece and the clinical. And we decided that the patient registration, all three of those things tied into creating our project. They all seem to go together or were interrelated. So my portion of it was to work on the medical billing setup and project schedule. So I pulled from the RFP under the section, I would think it was Appendix A, where it had the breakout of what the client was expecting from the initial bill. And if you can see those different tasks under my high level tasks of like programming, bill reimbursement, payment posting, and balance due, billing build, and reporting and metrics were underneath those are all the tasks pretty much that the client wanted to see in the new system going forward. Now, as I got into the project charter, I realized that it would be to my benefit to make this charter reflect what I had already gone over with my team. So I changed it to the medical billing systems and just kind of filled in this top information as best I could. I left this part expecting savings and estimated costs off until I figured out what I was going to do in this portion down here where it talks about the cost types, and the other portion down here where it talked about the benefits. So those two numbers I use to populate the top part of this document right here. So I went into solving the problem, what the problem was, stating that information, and then the project purpose, the business case. That just basically was just going back over what all project steps we were going to have to go through, what was going to be on the schedule, and the reasons why. The goal and metrics piece was basically a number that I thought that the company as a whole would be trying to do as far as increasing revenue. The expected deliverables, excuse me, is basically what we would have to be delivering on as a project team, what to the client. And I hate to, sorry about turning the screen around and around, but I have to hold and do this shit. Do this. Do this mouse scrolling down. So the items within the scope area is basically just breaking out again what we will be delivering on, giving more detailed information. A big part of this thing too is that they are wanting to replace the existing system and take basically trying to figure out how to merge the aging billing information onto the new system. That's going to be a big part of our scope that we have to figure out with the client, make sure that timing is just perfect so there won't be any delays or claims that don't get paid or missed altogether. That's going to involve making sure that we have all the insurance companies that are associated with billing for all the different locations for the Southern Nevada Health District. Even the ones that are just lesser known, the third party ones that you may or may not have billed in years, still need to have that type of information built into the new system, so that any claims that may have been denied over in the old system and now will still can be collected into the new system. The tentative schedule was basically pulled from my open project schedule. Those are the dates that we as a team came up with as we were doing this project and merging our informations together. And the second piece of it, project team, of course, I pulled that from the project schedule. The cost types, pulled that again from the project schedules, those dollar amounts. I didn't reflect them because I did my project schedule first. My rates and stuff are different on that than it is on here, but we did change that on the team sheet that we submitted in. I was just trying to come up with the realistic costs I was thinking that it would cost to do this type of bill. But again, I'm not 100% sure about that. Not any real information on how those costs. Those costs, I guess, in the real world, we would know up front based upon our budget and what the other benefits would be, as far as how these numbers would come, I guess, to be more in line with each other, the benefits versus the cost. Let's see. And then the risk and constraints and assumptions area. This is where in the risk area I took more time in as far as covering what risks will be associated, like the cutover of the legacy billing information systems, getting the end user adoption and buy-in. It would be critical to implementation, and also that will help with the learning curve, and also including the training budget for that. And also, as I mentioned before, the table bill, the insurance table bill, to make sure that any payers and all payers that you may have or may have not received payment in over years and years, that they're still included in this new insurance table bill, just in case there are some claims that are out there on the legacy system that they're awaiting payment on and can get reimbursement for, and have that payment posted to make sure that we capture all any H&R. The constraints, I was just thinking about, specific or federal state mandates for the state of Nevada, and how they would be, and what resources to format those. Might need additional programmers to do those. I only have one programmer set up, but of course there should be many more, but for this intent purposes, I only had one. And the constraints on the manual process of occur the specific amount of time of aging billing on the legacy system, and how that should automatically interface and fail. So we're having to come up, I guess, with a backup plan. Basically, if systems don't work, interfaces don't work, how are we going to get that old information over to the new system? That's a constraint, I would think. And the assumptions that I'm making was that the subject matter experts that will be involved in the project, they have the technical and the business knowledge that we need to work on various stages of the building the system. Any server upgrades or purchases will be performed under additional procurement. That was a requirement of the client. I pulled that from the RFP. The specific system hardware requirements will be stated in a project charter and provided to the client. The project budget and time is subject to change should server upgrade, state mandates require additional resources, and omitted specific third-party insurance that is not made accessible or available to programmers at the beginning of this project, as I stated earlier. And that pretty much concludes my thoughts. My pros and cons, like I stated earlier, were just that the system was, kind of cumbersome to first navigate as far as over in Project Manager. I'm sorry, no, Open Project, this here. But once you build this, everything else builds for you. So that portion of it I really enjoyed, because I just couldn't imagine trying to do all of this using Excel and how that would pan out. This was just a much easier process once you figured out the first part, and that's setting up the schedule. Once that pretty much flowed everything, and work and navigating using these using the toolbar things up at the top here, kind of helpful as well. You just have to make sure that when you are trying to indent these particular headings, that you are within a certain space before you hit this indent, because it won't, as you can see, it won't even highlight until you are within a certain space for it to do so. So that's the thing that I would caution you about, and that's my time. I hope you found this informative. Let me know. Give me your feedback. Thank you so much. Bye.